Hey, this is Barry from Joyce Manor, and you're watching Records in My Life.
And all I ever wanted was to say I think I'm still in love. People on the street intimidate you, though they see you crying, they all smile.
Thank you so much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Can you give us a bit of information about your latest release? Did you work with
Producer?
outside producers?
Two.
Or, yeah.
Yes, about half the record was kind of written via email with this guy in Texas named Rory. He played in a band in the early 2000s and late 90s called The Impossibles that I grew up being a really big fan of. And I reached out to him about producing it, but he couldn't really make it work with, family and work. So we just did some stuff via email, and I was just shocked at how good it turned out. So half of it was done that way, and then a lot of that stuff got re-recorded, or we used parts of it, and we worked with Kurt Ballou from Converge out in Salem, Massachusetts. Made a record for a few weeks.
I mean, Kurt has produced a number of bands. What attracted you to working with him?
A lot of the times, whoever we're recording with, I think, hears how melodic and hook-driven our songs are, but I always kind of want to emphasize the energy of the songs and that we're still kind of like a punk band, and I want that to be emphasized more than the melodic component. I thought Kurt would be just a person who would understand that, because his records are really aggressive and energetic, and but he's also done really melodic and pretty stuff. He did the Pygmy Lush record, and the last Chelsea Wolfe record is, I don't know if you'd call it super melodic, but the stuff that he's done that is more melodic, it still has a lot of energy and it's aggressive.
And you guys are on Epitaph Records, who have a rich history. Are there any albums that inspired you to start playing, or
Absolutely.
what
so
other
many
bands?
Well, the Weakerthans from Canada. The Weakerthans are a huge influence and one of my favorite bands, and all of our it's a band we all have in common that we love.
Was that the impetus or the Craigslist record that would you say was that one of the records that brought the?
No, I think that for me and Chase started the band, and we're both huge Blink-182 fans and big Beach Boys fans, and we were just kind of talking about similarities between Enema the State by Blink-182 and just Today by the Beach Boys, earlier Beach Boys stuff where it's just simple songs with good harmonies and great energy, and this kind of locked in the teenage mindset, you know what I mean? That it exists in this teenage universe, and I just love that kind of thing.
We like to pride ourselves on educating people about new music on the show. What's a good album, a newer album that it doesn't have to be a new band, or
Sure.
what's a recent discovery for you?
Bill Fox. He's a power pop guy from Ohio. I think Cleveland, but maybe Columbus. And he played in the band called The Mice, a great power pop band. And I just discovered his solo stuff. And it's I just opened this, treasure trove of just oh my God, this guy has so many great songs. He has a song called My Baby Crying that I just play over and over again.
Bill Fox.
Bill
Fox,
Fox,
that one.
amazing.
Nothing better than power pop, right?
Great Midwestern power pop, the real deal, good stuff.
So, and let's go back to when you were really, really young and you started playing, or when you were starting to learn how to play. What album, is there a record that you kind of picked up the guitar and learned how to play along? What would be one of the first ones?
First Operation Ivy record. Yeah. When I was younger and the ska punk thing was happening in 97, I would have been in about 6th grade, and I knew Operation Ivy were one of those touchstone bands that you had to get in Op Ivy. If you like ska punk, you're gonna love Op Ivy. But I much more gravitated towards Real Big Fish or the Mighty Mighty Boss Stones, and I think it was just a production value thing. When I had tried to listen to Operation Ivy, it actually sounded kind of scary to me. How poorly it was recorded back then. It sounded like a snuff film, or you know what I mean? It scared me. I was
That's terrific.
I didn't like it, and so I came back around to that when I was quite a bit older. I think about 17, and that's around the age where I learned how to play guitar, and so I was this Operation Ivy record is amazing, and I could kind of get past the production at that point. And I ended up getting really into it. And that was when I was first learning guitar. That's kind of how I learned how like an arrangement works. And those arrangements are really simple. Like almost every song has a chorus, and that's my first band was just an Operation Ivy Warship, you know.
Is there an album live you would like to hear in its entirety?
Ooh. You know, I didn't want to go see it. I actually don't like when bands announce that we're going to do this album. I think it's very like, what's the word?
Well, you
desperate.
want to be surprised, right? If you're,
it's a bit desperate, isn't
Yeah,
it? It's a bit like,
maybe.
come on, we're going to play the stuff you like. Please come see us.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, have a little dignity. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, but I know people love it. People are like, oh my God, we're going to go see whoever, and they're doing this, you know, Pixies doing Doolittle or whatever. But I would love if I went to see the Pixies and they just played Doolittle. Actually, I think that record isn't it's got a lot of great songs. It's not their most consistent, but I mean, Weezer doing Blue Album or Pinkerton. I love that those records are 10 songs that are just perfect. And that's been a hugely influential thing to me, is just doing the 10-song record where every song, there's no like, oh, that's clearly the high watermark on this record. You know, there's a level of quality maintained throughout the whole record. I think on those first 2 Weezer records. And then, so if I went to go see Weezer and they just started playing Blue Album, I'd lose my mind, you know. By the time they got to like the 4th song, like, they're going to play the whole thing. but you know, if they were like, hey, we're going to play Blue Album, I'm like, I'm good. I'm not going to, I can't buy into that.
That's a band.
I can't buy into that.
That's a band that's been referenced a number of times. Weezer have been, I mean, not as much as the Beatles or Radiohead, but they've been referenced a number of times. And
people have said that, yeah.
Weezer.
Because it's that 10-song perfect record thing. Like I'm a huge Beatles fan and a huge Radiohead fan. I don't know if either of those bands have a perfect record. I mean, a lot of people would argue that, but I think the Beatles, especially
Be
those,
careful.
I
crazy-
love the Beatles. I love the
might jump
Beatles
out.
so much, but I think that they were pushed by Brian Epstein to just always put out new material. So like I think they had recorded and wrote Rubber Soul and Revolver the same year, and so for how much good material is on there is incredible, but there's a lot of stuff that maybe could have been a B-side, or you know what I mean, or like and. Not to say that they're not still incredible achievements and way ahead of their time, but as far as just like a tune, you know, I think that they have so many great songs, but a lot of duds, I think. But not like those first Weezer records are just not a dud on there.
And let's do a school. Have you seen the film? Oh, well, everyone's seen it. The Jack Black film.
School of Rock.
Yeah,
Came out on my birthday.
That's awesome.
17th
Fantastic.
birthday.
So good question for you.
Yeah.
What album are you sending the class home on
Ooh.
to? But it's kind of a cultural question, like to be.
Yeah.
You know, to embrace the whole rock and roll and.
I keep going back to Pet Sounds. I think you should study Pet Sounds. I think that if you're taking a music class in high school, you should study Pet Sounds. I keep talking about the same stuff, but I don't like that much stuff.
But they're good. I mean, they're good albums, though.
Yeah.
But it's
yeah.
a tough album for a young.
It was tough for me. I
Yeah.
knew it was supposed to be this incredible album and so influential, and I put it on, and it sounded like Disney music. It sounded like, you know what I mean? Like and I was like, this is the record that is this tortured genius made. Like, it sounds like it's written by squirrels in the park. You know what I mean? Like it. And then I listened to it, and it clicked. Like you know, I got really into God Only Knows, and I was like, oh, this song is really good. And then before I knew it, I was just in love with every record, and every note, and every just perfect melody, and amazing vocal takes, and just, you know, you have the Wrecking Crew doing their thing, and just, yeah. That's a record I think you can really study and learn a lot from.
Fantastic. Great choices, and thank you so much for being
Thank
on
you
the
for
show.
having me.
We just like to ask our guests for some words of wisdom, advice. Can you give us anything?
Yeah, write a lot of songs and try to write a chorus. I hear a lot of music, but there's no attempt to write a chorus lately. It's write a chorus.
That's a good one. Our cameraman won't disagree with you on that one.
Yeah,
I
I
bet.
hear so many songs, I'm like, why didn't they just write a chorus?
Thank you so much for watching, and please subscribe.
And if you're really feeling it, please hit us up on Patreon. Cheers.